What's going on, guys? This is Aaron with Departures Capital. We're here with Dr. Santiago Ferro, Chief Medical Officer at Core One Labs. Santiago is CEO of Acome Biotech Limited, which is Core One's most recent acquisition. Shortly following the acquisition of Acome, Dr. Ferro was also appointed Chief Medical Officer at Core One Labs. So, welcome and thank you for joining us. Can you give us a little bit about your background on yourself and briefly explain what your role will be in these various capacities, CEO of Acome and of course, Chief Medical Officer here at Core One?
Of course. Thank you very much for having me. So my background is I'm a physician. I trained, and after finishing medical school, I did a specialty in internal medicine, and then after that in infectious diseases. And after practicing medicine for many, many years, I joined industry, and that's about 21 years ago. And in the industry, I had the opportunity to lead teams in different capacities, developing of new vaccines, for example, with Sanofi Pasteur, development of new pharmaceuticals with Novartis Pharmaceuticals, also working with NGOs, specifically in malaria vaccine in Africa. And then also finally in development of new medical devices. So I've had the opportunity to work in different settings, big companies, startup companies, and again, different type of products, vaccines, drugs, and medical devices.
Wow, lots of experience. So let's dive into Acome Biotech. So what is Acome Biotech and how is it relevant to the Core One Labs story and its growing / processing business?
Great question. Thank you. So Acome Biotech is a company that has been researching the upcoming of new drugs and substances that can be used with therapeutic indication of multiple conditions, neurological as well as mental health conditions. And this objective is actually very, very close to the objective of Core One Labs. So therefore, there's a very, very strong synergy between what the two companies are trying to accomplish. And that is, again, to bring to market psychedelics treatments that can be beneficial for patients with different neurological and mental health conditions.
Great. So are there other companies focused on the psychedelic treatment of neurological disorders?
Yes, there are. It is actually quite a strong field right now. So let me give you a little bit of a history about psychedelics. So psychedelics were discovered around the 1960s or so. And during the 1960s and maybe even early 70s, a lot of research was done trying to find medical uses of these drugs or these substances. And unfortunately, then the recreational use of psychedelics also became, of course, famous and well noticed. And it was kind of associated with what at the time was a big problem, particularly in the US, which was the anti-Vietnam War movement. And I think as a consequence of that, psychedelics were banned, and therefore there was no permission to do any research activities with these substances. And that is really a pity because, fast forward 40 years or so, and now we're starting to discover that these compounds are incredibly powerful and they can provide significant benefits for many neurological and mental health conditions. So over the past, I would say maybe 10 years or so, maybe a little bit less than that, there's a renewed interest in finding how psychedelics can be used safely, of course, for different medical indications. And the response has been dramatic because the effects in turn are also dramatic. So there is incredibly positive responses in conditions such as depression and anxiety and post-traumatic disorder, stress disorders. So the evidence is getting bigger and bigger and stronger, and therefore there is also interest from the market point of view. So many companies are now in this field trying to bring new psychedelic-based treatments into the market.
Very interesting. So what do you think sets Acoma apart from these other companies?
Uh, Good question. So Akomi is looking at psychedelics in a different angle. We, of course, we realize how powerful these compounds are and can be, but we are also very aware of the side effects that these compounds have, and therefore, what we're trying to accomplish is new ways to administer or to combine these drugs with other components in such a way that the probability of these side effects are significantly reduced without compromising the potency. And the way to do that is by combining psychedelics with substances that are naturally occurring, that have actually been used for many, many years or many centuries, in fact, in places like China, India, and others. But these compounds have been kind of natural compounds. But now Akomi is looking into the detailed pharmacology of the compounds that are inside these natural products and extracting them and combining them with psychedelics. And we believe that we can get this same or even better therapeutic results and avoid the side effects that psychedelics may have.
Wonderful. So could you speak a bit about Acomi's 4 provisional matter of composition patents?
Sure. So Akomi has filed provisional patents in support of this concept that I just explained, which is using psychedelics in combination with some natural products. They're also called flavonoids or bioactive products, and these provisional patents, what they do is that they sort of secure the intellectual property of the compounds during the development process. So at the end, we hope to have full patents recognized in many jurisdictions to secure the IP of the company.
Sounds great. So you speak about provisional patents. What does this mean, and how do these types of patents differ from other forms of patents?
So when somebody develops a new idea, a new treatment, or whatever, a new vacuum or a new coffee maker, or or something that is completely new and original, they want to make sure that they own the intellectual property of that new product. So there is a process to do that, and there are institutions, the governmental institutions, that actually grant you the right to say you are the owner of this new technology or this new idea, or blah blah blah. So it's a long process, but it starts with what is called a provisional patent, and that is what Akomi has done, which is already filed a patent application to the correspondent authorities, and what the authorities do is they say, okay, this idea looks really good, really original. However, in order to give you a full patent, you need to provide data. You need to support your idea with some data. It's not just a crazy thing. But eventually, in order for them to grant you the ownership of your idea, you you need to provide some support that the idea that you came up with makes sense.
Very interesting. So what makes psilocybin a good candidate for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease?
So psilocybin is one of the drugs that is being pursued by Acomi and many other companies, by the way. Is probably the one that has been used more often, and is the one that will be probably coming to the market very, very soon. So the in vitro studies that have been done, and by that I mean studies that are done in the test tube in the lab, have shown that psilocybin has incredible properties to induce the tissues, the cells of the nervous tissue to regenerate, and also to heal different parts of the cells once they are broken. So it is a very promising candidate. It's still early. There's only studies done in cell cultures, but that's what Acomi and Core One Labs are intended to do is to take these compounds that look very promising and go through a very strict scientific and ordered development process that will will be final when we get an approved application from the regulatory authorities to try this in humans. So it is promising because psilocybin has shown again the capacity to heal the central nervous system in ways that we had not seen before.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting compound. So what are the next steps or near future plans for Acomi?
So the plan is to take the combination compounds of psychedelics plus bioactives to the initial preclinical development, and that means to conduct a bunch of studies in the lab first, then in the test tube, so-called in vitro studies, and we can also, we will also at the same time do studies in animals in the lab as well, in vivo studies as they are called, and these in vivo studies are a little bit they are a step closer to proving that these compounds work, because the way these studies are done is the condition that we are interested in, let's say, for example, Parkinson's, can be induced in animals, can be produced in animals. So we can have mice or rats or rabbits or guinea pigs or whatever animal in the lab with Parkinson. So we can try the compound that we're interested, psilocybin and the natural compound, on these animals to see whether they respond to the treatment and see the effects of the treatment. And if they work in the animals, it doesn't guarantee that it will work in humans, but it will certainly give us a very good chance of getting the opportunity to test it in humans.
Well, thank you so much, Santiago, for all the information. I look forward to having you back for some more updates as well.
I will be very happy to do that.
Great. Well, I hope you have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
All right, guys, that wraps up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to say, if you do support me, the channel, and all these videos, then kindly smash that like button along with hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications for future videos. I did also want to say, check the disclaimer down below. This video was sponsored by the company that we are talking about today. So check the disclaimer, full disclosure, and we're out of here. Always remember, guys, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.